Changing people's minds is one of the most difficult things to do. One of the best tools to accomplish such a feat is to be able to reframe people's perspectives. And art is an effective tool that possesses the capability to make an individual stop and question their core beliefs. For What It's Worth by Buffalo Springfield is a masterpiece disguised as an American Revolution anthem to do just that. Let's take a look as to why a 54-year-old song still matters in 2020 just as much as it did in 1966.
The Buffalo Springfield.
Alright, so to understand why For What It's Worth has just as much value today as it did during its first live performance at Pandora's Box on December 25th, 1967, we first need to take a look at who Buffalo Springfield is, and instead of me telling you, let's just get it straight from their frontman Neil Young on their 1967 appearance on the American Bandstand show.
My name is Neil Young.
Hi, Neil. How do you do?
Lead guitar player. How do you do? This is Richie Furay.
Hello, Richie. Nice to see you.
Hello, Richie from
Up in the
Yellow
back?
Springs, Ohio. Big Dewey Martin, Buffalo Dew.
Hello, Dewey.
Bruce Palmer from Toronto, Canada.
Don't say anything.
Don't say anything. Okay. Steve Stills from New Orleans.
Hello, Steve. Nice to see you. No, Toronto I know well. That's kind of like my second home. I spend a lot of time there. How does three Canadians and a couple of other fellas all fall in together? How did that happen? They were lucky.
They were lucky, I guess. Yeah. Well, Bruce and I came to Los Angeles in an old hearse to start, to try to, make stars, we're going to be stars. So we were just about to leave, and I saw him in a van going the other way on Sunset, and he stopped me, and we stopped, and we all stopped, and then we started.
Have you ever seen a steamroller? The things they roll over roads and that sort of thing? Isn't that how you got the name?
Yeah, from a Buffalo Springfield steamroller.
Much like The Doors, Love, The Byrds, and many other bands in the counterculture scene of the decade, Buffalo Springfield got their rise on the Sunset Strip in LA, a vibrant street that housed music venues like Pandora's Box and the Whiskey A Go-Go. The latter would be where Buffalo Springfield played as the house band. These havens for hippies would be fundamental to a series of events that would later be known as the Sunset Strip Curfew Riots, an era-defining event that marked the progress of cultural revolution. Tensions on the strip were high as residents and business owners had qualms with the tie-dye loving, bell-bottom wearing, cannabis smoking youth, which weren't helped by LA officials imposing a strict 10 p.m. curfew for those under the age of 18, which we now know is a clear violation of civil rights. Although Pandora's Box imposed a strict no alcohol policy, Los Angeles City Council revoked the establishment's youth permit, forcing them into financial hardship, which the council would later then use as leverage to seize and demolish the property. Changes also included forcing Buffalo Springfield's house, the Whiskey A Go-Go, to change its name to the Whisk, due to the council's idea of whiskey being a bad influence. The iconic establishment later was able to reclaim its original name. Other than the civil rights infringement, it's important to know that by passing a rule that made gathering a criminal offense, Los Angeles City Council gave undertrained and control-hungry authorities justification to use excessive force, upholding rules that would only serve a privileged few at the cost of severely punishing many with excessive jail time and physical abuse. The catalyst for what would turn out to be an era-defining conflict kicked off when two teenagers passed out flyers announcing a peaceful protest on November 12, 1966, which was to take place outside Pandora's Box. The quote-unquote riots are best summed up by For What It's Worth's writer Stephen Stills when he said, "Riot is a ridiculous name. It was a funeral for Pandora's Box, but it looked like a revolution." If we take a look at how For What It's Worth's lyrics are structured, specifically the ever-progressing first line of the chorus, we can see the writer progresses from hesitantly asking for change to demanding society as a whole to change the situation, to only including his side of the disagreement to create change, to finally include everybody to quite literally stop and take a look around them to ultimately create a disruption in the status quo. I think the core message of the song is really about being self-aware of what you're doing and thinking about how the actions you take have tangible effects on the people around you. Seeing this sort of progression from a songwriter during his time of conflict really is a guidebook on how we should go about trying to change the opposition's opinion. Not through thought control, but rather through making them question their assumptions about themselves and their environment. When it comes to a problem that we've faced since the 1960s, such as the abuse of power by authorities, we can draw many parallels to the cultural divide that we're currently facing.
And in order establishing a 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. curfew, which is in effect tonight